Economic growth in sub-Sahara Africa has remained impressive and higher than many parts of the world. The resilience and growth momentum has been vital in driving development in the region. The growth momentum, however, faces real and serious challenges due to absence of sound infrastructure base. The alarming infrastructure gaps facing the region calls for immediate attention. According to the global financier, the World Bank, financing African infrastructure was one of the key topics during the 2016 MAFMI Combined Forum, as the finance ministers and central bank governors gathered to find lasting solutions to the worrying infrastructure gaps. World Bank Chief Economist for Africa, Dr. Zuefack, highlighted that the reality is that the continent continues to lag behind in infrastructure development, with at least $90 billion required for infrastructure.
We are certainly in a position to say that Africa is terribly lagging. We knew this probably. This is just a way to put this to rest once for all. If someone says Africa doesn't need infrastructure, this is certainly one way to say, well, I'm sorry, we do need to invest more. Now, if you take energy as an example, just to give you some specific numbers. Electricity access rate is around 32% in Africa, and our goal as African countries is to meet universal access by 2030. 64% of our population would have to be connected to some form of electricity. This is a huge challenge. The generation capacity is between 1 to 2 gigawatt per year. The need is around 6 to 7 gigawatt per year. And the infrastructure investment per year is between $40 to $50 billion per year. So, when you think of these numbers, they are astronomical, especially given the way the financing is organized for our African countries.
Dr. Zuefack told the participants at the Combined Forum that more attention should be placed on unlocking the potential of global capital markets.
To get the financing that we need for our huge infrastructure needs, we need to work together to unlock the potential of the global capital markets. And this would have to go through improving investor protection, increasing local currency financing, for example. Because as you know, apart from airports and ports, most of the infrastructure is to serve the domestic market. So you don't necessarily get hard currency. Yet you do have a lot of currency risk that could discourage international capital. So countries like South Africa are already deepening and modernizing their local currency fixed income markets. That could be one way to also address the problem. There is a strategic role for multinational organizations, as Professor Collier said in his presentation, and there is a crucial role for governments. For multinationals, we generally talk of instruments, financing instruments, but I want to start with two ideological issues. One, I believe we need in international organization to put it quite clearly and unequivocally that infrastructure is pivotal for development. Physical infrastructure is pivotal for development.
Despite the recent slowdown in the two biggest economies on the continent, Dr. Zuefack expressed confidence in the ability of many economies to sustain the current resilience.
The positive story out of this very difficult time is that growth is at multi-speed, and we come to a finer story than the commodity versus non-commodity exporter story. We do have a group of countries that were performing at above 5.4% before the collapse of commodity price, but that are still powering through and growing even faster. The message here is, one, yes, growth has faltered in Africa for 2016, but there are signs of resilience. 41% of the population of Africa is still living in countries where growth is stronger.
It was clear during the discussions that increasing investment in energy, roads, rail and ICT infrastructure is critical in order to maintain the economic growth momentum as well as to ensure prosperity.